Do you remember what made you feel alive as a child? If not, stick around. I've got a story you'll love. This is The Search for What Makes Her Feel Alive. Storytime with Delia and Jade Assistant AI. Alina had always been the good girl. She followed the rules, stayed quiet when she wanted to speak, and shaped her life to fit the expectations of her family, her church, and the world around her. She had been taught that sacrifice and conformity were virtues, and she wore them like armor. But now, at 38 years old, the armor felt heavy, too heavy. One night, as she sat alone in her apartment, Elena thought, what do I even want? She couldn't answer the question. Every choice she'd ever made had been filtered through what others expected of her, what was right, what was safe, what wouldn't make waves. She closed her eyes and whispered, what makes me feel alive? The silence that followed scared her. As a child, Elena had been full of curiosity. She loved to draw, sing, and make up stories. She once told her grandmother that she wanted to be an artist. Her grandmother smiled gently and said, art is nice, but you'll need a real job to take care of yourself. At church, she learned to follow rules without question. When she danced to the rhythm of the music, a well-meaning elder told her, that's not how a young lady of faith behaves. At school, she tried to share her wild, imaginative stories during class, but her teacher scolded her for being off topic and told her to focus on the assignment. Piece by piece, year by year, Elena learned to suppress her passions, her desires, her voice. By the time she was an adult, she didn't even remember who she was outside of the roles she played: daughter, sister, employee, church member. One afternoon, Elena was scrolling through social media when she came across a video of a woman dancing barefoot on a beach, laughing and spinning under the sun. Her movements were wild and free, and her joy radiated through the screen. Elena felt a pang of longing so sharp it took her breath away. When was the last time I felt like that? She wondered. She couldn't remember. For days, the image of the dancing woman stayed with her. It stirred something deep inside her, a spark that had been buried but not extinguished. Elena decided to take a walk in a nearby park. She didn't have a plan. She just knew she needed to do something outside of her usual routine. As she walked, she let herself notice the little things: the sound of the birds, the crunch of leaves underfoot, the way the sunlight filtered through the trees. She found a bench and sat down, closing her eyes. What makes me feel alive? She asked herself again, this time with curiosity instead of fear. A memory came to her, a vivid flash of herself as a child, sitting on the floor with crayons scattered around her, drawing fantastical creatures and vibrant worlds. She had been so absorbed, so alive in those moments. Another memory surfaced. The time she danced in her room to a song she loved, twirling until she was breathless and laughing. Tears filled Elena's eyes. I know what makes me feel alive, she realized. I just forgot. Elena went home and dug out an old sketch pad she hadn't touched in years. The pages were yellowed and the pencils were dull, but as she began to draw, she felt a familiar joy bubbling up. It wasn't perfect, and it didn't need to be. The next day she put on her favorite song and danced around her living room. She didn't care how she looked, she just let the music move her. Elena didn't quit her job or abandon her responsibilities overnight, but she began carving out little moments each day to reconnect with what made her feel alive. She started experimenting, trying new hobbies, exploring new places, and saying yes to things that scared her in the best way. She also started saying no to things that drained her, no to unnecessary obligations, no to outdated expectations, no to living a life that wasn't hers. One evening, Elena wrote in her journal, feeling alive isn't about doing what's expected of me. It's about listening to the whispers of my soul. It's about remembering the joy I buried to fit in. It's about daring to be me. She realized she didn't need anyone's permission to live fully. She just needed to give herself permission. Sometimes, what makes us feel alive is hidden beneath years of conditioning and expectations. To reclaim it, we must listen to our inner voice, explore our forgotten passions, and let go of the fear of being too much or not enough. Like Elena, we can rediscover our aliveness by embracing curiosity, experimenting with joy, and allowing ourselves to be who we were always meant to be. What's one thing you're going to do this week to reconnect with your passions? Let me know in the comments. And if this resonated with you, follow for more stories like this.